Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are watching. Welcome back to Just Poppin' By. My name is Josh, and we are going on a brew here in the Pauper format. We are going to talk about a deck that I have lovingly come to call Glaze Fienity, and it runs around, yes, you guessed it, Glaze Fiend. This guy has been unknown, or at least flying under the radar in Pauper for a little while. It's becoming quite popular now. But this guy says whenever another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, Glaze Fiend gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So, as with the name Glaze Fienity, running Glaze Fiend in an artifact deck like Affinity, this guy can get really big really quickly. There's a lot of cheap or free artifacts that you can play that'll pump him, and you can swing for some epic amounts of damage very early in the game. I'll show you some gameplay where this goes off later. But this deck also runs another one of my favorite cards, Reckless Fireweaver. Reckless Fireweaver says whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it does 1 point of damage to each opponent. And he's pretty cheap. He's a colorless and a red, and so is Glaze Fiend, just colorless and a black, so you can get these out on turn 2. And what's really good about this guy is running a Rakdos version of this, running artifact lands, which you should be in an Affinity deck. These are going to deal a point of damage every time they hit the field. So any artifact you play, you're just starting to shoot someone slowly over time. Especially if you get more than one of these guys out. If I have 2 of these out on the field, it's pretty much game over. But so here's an example of a play that I often do. I'll try and play my non-artifact lands if I know I've got a Fireweaver or a Glaze Fiend in hand. At turn 2, you drop your Fireweaver, then you drop an artifact land, for example, for the turn, shoot him for 1. Tap a black, play a Blood Fountain, which is run in a lot of Affinity decks, which creates a blood token. And so this is going to be 2 artifact triggers. So that was 1 trigger, 2, 3. So now I just basically cast a bolt by playing artifacts, because this is going to deal 3 points of damage to them. And this gets even crazier. Let me grab another artifact land here. I'll show you one of my favorite plays. So let's say we have 3 artifact lands. We played 1 for the turn, dropped the Blood Fountain. So that's 3 triggers, right? 2 more mana, and I cast a Vampire's Kiss. For those of you who don't know, a target player loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life, and you create 2 more blood tokens. So you cast this, and this basically says with Fireweaver on the field, shoot them for 4, or you gain 2 life, and you make 2 more blood tokens for Affinity. That's absolutely insane. If you have made this play, right, you drop the artifact land, you play the Blood Fountain, get another blood token, that's 3 triggers. Vampire's Kiss does 4 more damage with 2 more triggers. On turn 3, you did 7 life with 1 creature on the field. That is crazy. That's an insane amount of damage. And you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you have 1 or 2 Mirror Enforcers in hand, you can play them and get more damage, and you got a stacked board on turn 3. Turn 4 is going to be really bad for them. Often if I have a hand like that and they don't have an immediate response, they're going to scoop, or they're going to die in the next couple of turns. It gets crazy. So that's kind of how this runs. I will show you some gameplay from Magic the Gathering Online with Glaze Fiend, where it just goes off, and it's just wild. Again, this is one of my favorite decks that I have brewed, that I've built. But I'm going to show you some gameplay now. So in the Pauper League, I had a chance to play this, and I had a chance to go first, which is always what you want. Drop an artifact land turn 1, get that going. Turn 2, I'm able to play another artifact land, which is great for Affinity. Play the Glaze Fiend. And this guy is playing something with ninjas, so he's wanting to be able to attack on his first turn so he can ninjutsu something in. And this is exactly what he does. Plays the Moon Circuit Hacker, gets to draw a card. Good thing for me is that he taps out completely. Means no counter spells for me. So I know that I am completely in the clear to drop my hand. Another artifact land triggers the Glaze Fiend. Just continue to play artifacts from here. Refurbish Familiar, Blood Fountain, and now I've got 7 artifacts. Drop both Mirror Enforcers and swing for 12, which he surrenders. He scoops game 1 because there's no way he's coming back from this. He does have a flyer to block, which I was surprised that he didn't just block with this. But I think he can see where this is going. I've got a lot of power on the board, and I'm swinging with something that's going to be absolutely massive. And there's no way he's going to be able to counter me out of this completely. So you can see how this deck just goes off. And this is within it. This can go off with any affinity here, as you can see. Any affinity deck could play these. But I'm on turn 3, I'm swinging with 12 power. Turn 4, I'm going to be swinging with 4 creatures. And this thing's going to continuously get bigger. So this is just a quick snippet of how you can see how this can go insane very quickly. So here is the full deck list for Glaze Fienity as I have it on Magic the Gathering Online. I've gotten 4 copies of both the Fireweaver and the Glaze Fiend, as that is mainly our win cons. But I include the affinity cards as well. Mirror Enforcers are just a good beat stick. They also often come out as free. They combo with the Reckoner's Bargain, which I run 2 or 3 copies of usually to gain plenty of life. Same thing with Refurbished Familiar. Usually drop it for just 1 black. Make him discard a card. Sometimes you get to draw a card off of it. You can also sack it to Deadly Dispute, or more importantly, Reckoner's Bargain to gain 4 life, since its CMC is 4. 4 Vampire's Kiss, 4 Galvanic Blast for some burn, some extra burn there. That's kind of what makes this deck different than other Glaze Fiend decks or other affinity decks, is that it is more of a burn style deck. You do want to swing in for some damage with Glaze Fiend, but if you can't, you can certainly burn them out in this. Ichor Wellspring combo with some of these sack cards like Deadly Dispute, Reckoner's Bargain for your Pauper style Ancestral Recall, which is just insane. And recently I've added a couple copies of Unexpected Fangs for some additional life gain, especially when you're facing off against things like Burn, which early on are going to deal a lot of damage very quickly. Dropping one of these on a Glaze Fiend or even on a Mirror Enforcer, you can take several hits and end up winning the aggression race there and just keep swinging. Just gain plenty of life. They can't deal with it. For sideboard over here, I'm running more removal. Accursed Marauders, Tithing Blades. I've swapped some of these out for Tithing Blades versus Accursed Marauders, but when you've got things like Writhing Chrysalis, and I haven't seen Boggles as much lately, but it is still out there. These kinds of things, especially the Accursed Marauder, helps you get rid of the annoying creatures. Cast down again things like Writhing Chrysalis, your big snakes, your big drakes and things from like Mono Blue or Dimir Terror. In the festivities, I am thinking about swapping these out maybe for some breath weapons. It is more cost effective for in the festivities, but breath weapon will hit more things. Pyroblast again for blue, and then Bojuka Bog. This is going to be anything graveyard hate. It also seconds as a way to drop a few of your black artifact lands, because if you're playing against red or white, I often drop 2 or 3 of these if I think they're going to board in some artifact hate. It's one thing to kill my creatures or to get rid of some artifacts on the field. It's another thing if you're just going to start getting rid of my land. So that really hurts. I found that if I swap 2 or 3 of these out for the Bojuka Bogs, even if it's not really giving me a benefit of removing their graveyard, I am producing less targets for artifact hate in my land base, and that often helps a lot. So this is the deck. Hopefully you guys like it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What you might add, what you might take out. If you try this deck, please let me know how it goes. It has been performing really, really well online and in locals in paper format. Please leave a like and a comment and subscribe. And again, my name is Josh, and thank you for just popping by.